Now, at this point, Rodney, I wanted us to go back to the question. Go back to the question that was given by Bachata Intimate. Now, the question is, did you get permission from Kevin Samuels to show his clip? The answer is no. And the reason why we didn't is because we didn't have to. We didn't have to is because we use fair use. Under fair use, you don't have to give permission. Now, from lawyer to business owner, right? Again, we appreciate the unsolicited advice from you being a lawyer to us business owners, right? Fair use is not always what it seems. That's true, unless you understand what fair use is like we do, right? So we understand what fair use is, and we know that we were within the scope of the fair use doctrine, right? So we would like to put this challenge out to you, because again, we appreciate your comment. We appreciate your concern, because we believe that you want to keep honest people, us, honest, right? So exactly. We appreciate that.
Yeah, so this would be from business owners to lawyer. But go ahead with the challenge.
Yeah, from business, I like that. From business owners to lawyer, we would like to challenge you, right? To challenge what we just presented, if you can, and to come on to our channel, right? We could do a live broadcast where you could present the facts to support your claim that we violated the fair use doctrine,
or potentially violated the fair use. Because we can everything that we just presented is excellent, but to cap everything off, if Mr. Bachata was representing Kevin Samuels, he would be representing the wrong party. One, because Kevin Samuels' videos are not copywritten. So all that shit went out right out the window right there. It would have to be YouTube, because I'm sure that they have their contents copied. They would have to come and say, hey, this material is copyright, if they can prove that, and they still would lose. Right. So the mere fact that Kevin Samuels' videos, none of them, and I haven't seen any YouTube video copywritten. I don't even know if you can copyright a video. You can trade probably a movie, but probably a video too, but it wasn't copywritten. So the fact that it wasn't copywritten, all this is moot. M-O-O-T, that's a legal term, means it doesn't mean anything.
Right. But on the assumption, let's say it was copywritten, we still fall within the fair use doctrine.
We still fall within it.
Yep.
Yeah, that definitely. And when you deal with like attorneys and what we were saying earlier about attorneys and the people of the United States being unintelligent, uninformed, and misinformed, and misguided, all the above. And we rely on lawyers, attorneys, and judges to assist us in law. You know what I'm saying? They trained us, they trained us to go to them to learn the law. But Keith just told you, ignorance of the law is no excuse, but they trained us to believe that lawyers, attorneys, and judges know the law that will help us. And that's not true. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So you know, we used to listen to, or I still do, I think you still do too, a radio station that came on daily. We don't have to mention the name, but that radio station have a lot of good, strong-minded, educated, knowledgeable people that come on this show. Am I right or wrong? You know the show I'm talking about.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, a lot of nice people. I mean, I learned a lot from a lot of the guests that come on this show. And a lot of guests, many guests that come on the show are attorneys. Mm-hmm. So when Keith first introduced me to this radio station where you can call in, interact with the guests, I mean, it's a great show. It's a great show. And I would listen to attorneys come on the show when I first heard the show. And I would get somewhat offended by what they were saying. You know what I'm saying? What they were saying, I was like, damn, what are they talking about? I used to think they were wrong.
Right.
I say, these attorneys are lunching, Keith. They saying this, and this. What's going on? I'm thinking that they're intentionally misleading the public. And then he has another guest that come on, older gentleman, super sharp, broke something down to the audience, and I was part of the audience listening. And I asked the question, like what the person said. He said, questions and answers will solve pretty much all problems. Ask questions. Don't make statements, ask questions. So when I used to call into the show and challenge the attorneys, the guests used to get mad at me because I was challenging maybe in an assaulting way what the attorney or lawyer or judge was saying, because I knew what they were saying could potentially be harmful to the people, right?
Right.
So I asked myself a question. This was after like a year listening to it. I done got barred off the show. They only let me call in. I used to call him and just straight and but not realizing I was disrespecting his show. But it wasn't. Right. It wasn't my intent. I'm just trying to help educate the people. And I used to call him and said, "You can't even stop answering my call like you had it or like had me on block. You know how you block somebody's number?
Yeah.
So what I did, I took the older guy's advice. I asked myself a question. I said, who teach lawyers, judges, and attorneys law in the United States of America? That was a tricky question. I asked that question to myself. I said, who teach them law?
Right.
So I would ask people, I said, who teach y'all law? And they would say, the law school, professors, this and that. So I said, well, that's not the answer I need. So when I asked myself the question, I said, who teach lawyers, attorneys, and judges law in the United States of America? My answer was to myself, the system of racism and white supremacy. The system of racism and white supremacy, which is all of our educational schools from K to 12, higher learning schools, which are colleges, law schools, and so forth. That's under their system, their educational system. That's the system of racism and white supremacy, whether you understand that or not. So when I asked myself that question, I said, who teaches them law? I said, that system does. And then I asked another question, which may have been even more important to myself. I said, well, Rodney, do you think the system of racism and white supremacy would teach lawyers, attorneys, and judges to free and emancipate our people? I was talking about Black people at the time. Mm-hmm. The answer to that question was hell no. So then I broadened the question and said, well, do I think the system of racism and white supremacy and those who support it, because those who support it are like you and I, Keith, they're Chinese, they're Mexicans, they're Arab, but they still fall under the guise of the system of racism and white supremacy. Why? Because they won the war. Mm-hmm. So they won the war. They may not own the planet, but they got one better. They control it. Right. If you don't believe me, fly an airplane up in the air and don't respond when they say, who I am, who are you? Take a boat out in the water and don't respond when they say, who are you? And you will quickly find out who controlled the air and the sea.
Yeah, I agree.
Walk on the land, walk up in Congress or on the Capitol grounds or walk anywhere and let one of those officers, one of those federal agents, state agents, any of those agencies that fall under that executive branch, let them ask you some questions and you don't respond the way you ought to respond, and you will quickly see that control unleashed, right? So with that being said, I said, well, who teach the law to attorneys, lawyers, and judges? Will that law help any people in the United States? The answer to that question, to me, appears to be no, because there are so many uneducated, unintelligent, and misinformed people based on the system that we went to school. The only reason me and Keith and I can present commentary like this in a legal fashion, because we studied it ourselves. Now, what they teach in law school, they have a curriculum. In law, what they teach law school, all the law that they learn is accurate. So I was wrong when I was called a radio show and say, y'all are crazy, y'all misleading the people, because all the law that they were saying are on the books. Mm-hmm. But the law that Keith and I learned, study, the thousands of hours in the Library of Congress, the National Archives, reading case law, what Keith just did, and in addition to that, going into court and applying it. So that was our private learning right there. And we get our law from the same hub that the lawyers do. So the law that we learn and the law that we use are on the books, but not taught in law school. So if it's not taught in law school, it's not presented to the people when you go pay your money for a lawyer and attorney, which is why most people get misled, get locked up, and which is why Kevin Samuels will probably lose this case if he keeps saying expectations of privacy and everything else that he was saying on his show with the other brother. I forget the other brother's name.
Donovan Sharp.
Donovan Sharp. So if those defenses, it appears that his attorney was telling him, he's going to be in trouble when this lawsuit kick in, if and only if Miss Jessica attorneys present the case properly within the scope of illegal use of her image without without sharing the profits thereof.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So
yeah.
We're not trying to disrespect Mr. Bachata or any lawyer, attorney, or judges, because I have a few of them on my cell phone.
Yep.
I call them if I need any type of procedure that I don't feel like researching myself. If I don't feel like researching a certain procedure myself, procedure law is much different than common law. It's this law is broken down a lot of different categories. It's all start from natural law.
And Rodney,
positive law, and it breaks down.
And
so
we tend to use
law.
No, I mean, cut you off. I was gonna say, and we tend to use constitutional law because we understand that the Constitution is the rules of the game. That's something they can't get past. It's the supreme law of the land. I wanted to throw that out there. That's why it seems as if the law that we use is a lot different than a lot of what they use, because we like to use the Constitution on them.
Yeah, we like to use the Constitution. One, why? Because within Article 6 of the Constitution, all judges and people who take public oath are bound by it. Bound means you have to follow it. Whether they follow it all the time, we know they don't, but they're supposed to. So it's no disrespect to Mr. Intimate or Mrs.
Bachata Intimate.
It's male or female, Bachata, we're not sure the gender, so we're gonna say the person.
Right.
So, but what we just laid out, Keith and I know is undefeatable. However, if you believe you can defeat it, or if you want to add commentary to, we more than welcome you to the show to give your legal perspective, your legal commentary based on what we just laid out. And that's pretty much all I had to say.
Yes, we definitely invite you. Please come on to the show. We're going to drop our email down in the description box for you to send us an email, and you're more than welcome. We would enjoy it. And again, it's not like it's going to be a hostile show. It's not going to be anything like that. You know, we operate in peace the same way that we show that you are, because our belief is that your message was out of concern that, again, honest people are being honest, that we're following the law of fair use. That's what we get from the comment that you left us, Bachata Intimate. And I did want to say this, Rodney, too, before we finish out. I wanted to make sure I say this, is that, you know, again, ignorance of the law is no excuse. We're not excused by the law, and Bachata Intimate or any attorney, they're not excused neither. No one is excused for being ignorant of the law. But the point of me bringing it back up is that I feel that it's important as private citizens, as laymen, for all of us to learn American jurisprudence in some form or some aspect. And the reason why I'm saying this is because even if you do need an attorney, right, to help you with your affairs, how do you make sure your attorney is honest? How do you make sure your attorney has integrity, your attorney is following the law? Because if you don't know these things or even basic principles of law, you don't know whether your attorney is screwing you over or not. All you know is what your attorney says. It kind of reminds me of, and again, this is, I mean, it's fiction, it's television, it's Power. Do you watch Power, Rodney? Just curious.
I do not, but my wife does, so sometimes I listen to it.
Okay, Power Book 2, right? It just went off, I want to say a few weeks ago, and Method Man was actually a highly regarded and highly paid attorney on that particular show, and he was actually working against his client, which was Tasha St. Patrick. Now he's working against his client with the prosecution, which is the Federal Attorney General Office in New York. He's working with them, right, against his client. Now it's easier to determine these things and know what's going on when you actually understand the law.
Yeah,
it's easy to determine if you're you can read through it if your attorney's being honest and has integrity, or and they trying to brush you off.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of times, the law that they're using is good law. Just like I was saying, the law is on the books,
right?
But it's not the best law for your situation.
Exactly.
So we have to use the best law to help your situation, not
Exactly.
the law that they're presenting. And you and I both know real life situations where attorneys work against real people.
Exactly.
Witnesses.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh man. And it's case law to protect them. It's case,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, right? It's case law to protect your attorney if for whatever rights that attorney may have not. I'm trying to couch what I'm saying, right? But whatever rights the attorney may not have raised during the trial,
Yeah.
they're actually protected,
Right.
Against you basically suing, against liability.
Yeah.
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 This is why we have a duty to know, man. I'm telling you, it's dangerous, it's harmful. Back to that maxim. It's harmful.
It's harmful. And in addition to that, it's over like 6 million laws, statutes, codes, and it's over 6 million in the United States. Over 6 million.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Around about. And believe it or not, we got a duty to know all of them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And when I figured that out, I was like, man, that's a lot of law to learn. I was probably spent the rest of my life trying to read that, which took us to the supreme law of the land, the Constitution. I said, let me deal with the Constitution and match all those 6,000 laws up against the Constitution and see what stick. I'm not reading all those laws. It's too many. There's too many laws to read. So let's read the highest law and work your way down.
I agree.
Any law come against you, match it against the Constitution, match it against your state constitution, and see how it fares.
Mm-hmm.
Because trust and believe, your legislators in Congress and your state legislators pass a many law that is repugnant to the Constitution. And according to the Supreme Court of the United States, any law repugnant to the Constitution is void.
Yeah, I forgot what case that is. Yeah.
It's a few, and that's an 1800 something. That's the 1800 case as well.
Yeah, I want to say it's Merlin. I want to say is it Merlin versus or somebody versus Merlin? Oh God, they'll come back to.
So many, but I don't remember the case law in particular, but I remember what it says.
Yeah. It's there. It's over the books, and it's good case law. Right. Matter of fact, we're gonna have to find that. I think that'll be a great show for us to go over that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So instead of being shocked that you have to know all these laws, we are faced a lot of laws, what they call law, statutes and codes that just infringe so much against our rights protected under the Constitution. And the mere fact that we don't know, the mere fact that we're misinformed, the mere fact that we're unintelligent, the mere fact that we're uninformed, whatever. I'm trying to remember what
uninformed, misinformed, and unintelligent.
Yeah. The fact that we're all those leads me to believe that these attorneys can easily take advantage of us because we don't know. Why don't we know? Because we wasn't taught in school. In 1928, people was taught this in school. That's why they couldn't get over. So it took them 90-some years to get us to the state that we're in as being an unintelligent people. But we have to turn the tables, as it says in the Bible. It's time to turn the tables.
Yep.
Put the shoe on the other foot and adjust those scales. Why you think all the scales supposed to be balanced of my eye? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But every scale you see in the justice system of the United States is tilted.
Right.
It's tilted for who? It doesn't appear to be tilted for us.
I was gonna say the elite. I was gonna say the elite because
exactly. So it's time to turn the table, and we can do it. It's an easy fix, but you're gonna have to read. You're gonna have to understand. You're gonna have to be confident, and that's the way that we put our public officials, our public actors, our state actors in check. Attorneys are state actors. They take an oath to the Constitution.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? So any attorney, you can tell them what to do. Don't ask the attorney. You tell the attorney what to do. If you don't want to do, fire him.
Yep.
Think any public official, they took an oath to the Constitution, they have to follow it. But if you don't raise it, what you do, Keith?
You waive it. You waive it.
We close with that one. What else you gotta say?
I was gonna say, I think we should close on that one, man.
Absolutely.
I think this was another hot show. Again, here at the Power of Offense, we entertain you with legal commentary from a layman's point of view. And please share, like, and subscribe.
Peace.
Peace.